I'm John Meyer, CEO of the Holstein Association USA until December 31st of 2024. And sitting next to me is Lindsey Worden, CEO-to-be, who will be taking the reins on January 1st, 2025. And so it's kind of a really neat thing to be in this position, to be able to turn the keys over, or the reins over, to somebody like Lindsey, who I've known for a long time. I knew her when she was, I don't know, probably in her teens. I met her the first time at her family's dairy in New Mexico. And I was so impressed with her then. I always thought, boy, she'd be somebody great with the association at some point. And so through her going to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I kept in touch with her a little bit. And she was a student of Ted Hallbach's, who's been a good friend and an acquaintance for a long time. And Ted and I kept in contact with her. And then we were fortunate enough to bring in Lindsey as a summer intern one year for us at the Holstein Association. And not surprisingly, Lindsey did a great job. And she did so well in her internship role that we wanted to make sure that we were able to secure her after she graduated from UW-Madison that May. So I always love it when a good plan works. And a lot of you know about our management by objective business plan at the Holstein Association USA. It's, we have clearly stated objectives and clear-cut courses of action to obtain those. So I worked with a colleague of mine with a plan that we were going to try to offer Lindsey a job before she returned back to Madison for college. We took Lindsey to lunch her last day on the job and offered her a position with the association upon her graduation. And so we offered that to her, and Lindsey politely received that offer and said she would think about it a little bit and get back to us. And so anyway, we held our breath for a little while, and Lindsey got back to us and joined the associations.
So I remember very well applying for the Holstein Foundation internship. In the program at UW-Madison, all the students were required to do an internship, but I did a few of them in my time there. But I remember I was looking at what I wanted to do for something that was outside of Wisconsin and outside of my home state of New Mexico. And my family encouraged me to apply for the Holstein Foundation internship because my parents have both been highly involved in registered Holstein activities and Holstein Foundation, Holstein USA activities, so they encouraged me to apply for it. And I read the job description, and so the Holstein Foundation internship was working with the Holstein Foundation and Holstein USA youth programs, mostly at our national convention. And so it really kind of aligned with what I knew I enjoyed, working with the youth programs. And I thought that coming to Vermont for a summer sounded fun. I had already moved halfway across the country from my family to go to college, so I thought, what the heck, I'll just move again. That's no big deal. And so I remember my phone interview that I had with Kelly Dunkley and Jody Hoynoski, and I was very excited to be offered that internship. And I moved to Vermont. I rented out a room in the current, or at that time, the Holstein USA Communication Manager's apartment, Lisa. We had a fun summer living together, and I just, really got to know the people at the association. I think that's really what's a big part of what's kept me over there through the years is the people, both the colleagues at the Holstein Association, also, of course, our members are the greatest people to work with and for. So I had a great summer internship, had a lot of fun getting to go to the national convention and work with the team there. And like I said, Kelly Dunkley, Jody Hoynoski, and others I got to know throughout the course of the summer, just had a lot of fun working with them. And again, I've always had the passion for registered Holsteins, having owned Holsteins since I was 9 years old myself. So I just thought, working for the association was really cool. And of course, coming into my senior year of college, I was thrilled to have a job offer. And talking to some of my friends at college, I realized I was one of the few that had that opportunity. So there was certainly an element of that I probably shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. And again, I really felt like I'd made a lot of friends and close relationships with some of my colleagues over the summer. So it was an easy thing for me to say yes to that. And so I remember packing my stuff up into my Ford Focus and driving across the country again and setting up shop in my first little apartment in Brattleboro.
And she's been with the association and has just continually climbed the ladder there for the last 17 years in her different roles. And so in May of 2022, I thought that it would be a good opportunity to promote Lindsey to the position of Chief Operating Officer, a position we hadn't had at the Holstein Association USA before, and that would be certainly my right-hand person, my official right-hand person, I would say, Lindsey, because for the most part, I had been working very, very closely with Lindsey for a number of years, but wanted to get her in that position of COO and give her that experience in that role. So, Lindsey, you started full-time with the association. Tell us a little bit about your initial position, what you did, and how you've grown within the organization since then.
Mm-hmm. So my first title at Holstein USA was Public Relations Specialist, and with that I was highly involved in doing a lot of writing. Social media wasn't a thing yet at the time, so it was a lot of press releases and working on our website. I still helped with the Holstein Foundation programs, which is something that even to this day I still really enjoy working on the Holstein Foundation programs. So after about 1.5 years of that position, I was fortunate to be promoted to Communications Manager. So that was my second role, and with that was a lot of the same, but just a little bit more leadership, being more engaged in the planning for the Holstein Pulse magazine. One of my big projects that I worked on was redoing our Holstein USA website, which at that time was in need of an upgrade, so that was a fun project. And also that was the first really large project that I worked on. It took us well over 1 year to do that. So I really enjoyed communications. That was when I was in college, I double majored in dairy science and life science communication. So I'd had some formal education in the communication space and kind of thought that's what I'd like to do. And then, but I've also had this passion for genetics, which is really the reason I'm engaged in the dairy industry. Is I love genetics. It's very, very interesting to me. And so we had a key staff member leave, and John did a little bit of restructuring within the organization and created the Holstein Genetic Services Department. And he asked me to apply for that position and encouraged me to apply for it. And I was very fortunate to move into that role as executive director of the Holstein Genetic Services Department. And that was really a whole different world for me, because in communications, you're interacting with a lot of people. You're engaged at a fairly high level in a lot of different areas. And moving into the genetic services role really gave me the chance to dig into some new things. It was an exciting new thing for us. We had some very exciting projects going on at that time. That was at the early phases of our collaboration with Zoetis in our Enlight project, which is something that I had been involved with. And so I got to take a real leadership role in that, which was a lot of fun. And then again, just gaining more experience managing people and getting involved in different parts of our business was a lot of fun in genetic services. So I was in the genetic services role for about 10 years. And as John explained, I had the opportunity then to move into the Chief Operating Officer role, which again brings me into some new areas of the business, which I found to be a lot of fun. I consider myself to be a pretty big picture thinker. I kind of like to operate at a high level, but then I also like to dig in and get my hands dirty and understand the way things work. And so it's been really fun for me to be able to do that in just about every part of our business. Over the last 17 years, almost every product or service that we offer, I've had a chance to have some pretty deep involvement in, get to know the people involved, how the programs work, the processes, and really just try and make sure that things are optimized so that we're providing the best service that we can to our members.
And she excelled there, as was no surprise to me or others who have worked with her. And a little while after that, I announced my retirement and gave Lindsey a strong recommendation to succeed me as CEO of the Holstein Association USA. So that was another kind of plan that I had, and like I said, she excelled, and so that's really a really great feeling for me to be able to turn something over to somebody like Lindsey that you've had the opportunity to work with for so long, and so well with. And so it's going to be a great future for the association. You know, we always believe in constant, never-ending improvement at the Holstein Association USA, and I know that Lindsey's going to be able to continue with that and take that to the next level, and I know that great things are in our future with the Holstein Association. So that's a very, very exciting thing for all of us. So I think it's great times for the association.
What excites me the most is really just having the opportunity to continue being involved in an organization that I love so much, and in some ways I've grown up in. There's a lot of projects that we've had over time. Some of those are in more of a mature state. Some are newer projects. So I'm just very excited to be able to continue to be involved in a lot of these things. But then also just help come up with what's next and really lead and direct some of those things. And again, just create the best programs, products, and services that we can for our members and continue to have the U.S. Registered Holstein be the greatest cow on earth.
One of the great things about being able to promote Lindsey from within is that nothing is really real new to Lindsey, because we've worked so closely together for 17 years in different capacities. When she was in communications, I've always been highly involved with that, every position that she's had. When she took the role in genetics, I worked with her closely in that. So she has touched a lot of the things that I have. And one of the things now that's, I think, going to help with the transition is that there is going to be no break in service. And I want to speak to that for a moment, because so many times when a business or an association like this has a change in the CEO or the person on top of the organization, and they bring somebody in who's never been exposed to the organization before, there's usually a clear speed bump at a minimum, if not a roadblock, that can come up when somebody comes in, because it takes some time to get to know an organization like this, particularly a breed association, because there are not many of those. So Lindsey's been exposed to that. She knows the business. Now what I'm doing and what we're doing together is to expose her to some of the different things that she may not have been involved with before and hasn't touched. So that's what we're doing, and it's been really pretty seamless, I think, to this point anyway, and worked out very, very well, because we've normally met together frequently and all. So I'm just trying to open the book and show her everything that I've been working on as we go along in this process.
It's been nice to have a fairly long runway to prepare for this. I've been able to spend a lot of time just thinking about things. I've got a document on my computer desktop where when I think of, hey, I really want to pick John's brain on this, I just make a note in my document, and then, as we have time to have conversations, as John said, we work very closely together for a long time, and so our conversations are very natural, and I feel very comfortable asking John essentially any question that I have, and he always answers my questions the best that he can. So I'm just really trying to think of as many different scenarios as I can, just take a look at what we're doing in our business and saying, hey, I really haven't been that involved in this, talk me through the history, because that historical context is incredibly important as we think towards the future. So I want to understand how we got to where we are today, and then just where we are now and just where we might want to go in the future. So I've really just been trying to pick John's brain the best I can, make the most of the time that we have together, and just be very intentional as we move through the next few months.
One of the many advantages of Lindsey taking over the CEO position is the continuity of the organization. And I think that continuity is highly important, not only for membership, but for the staff as well. And I look at our organization as compared to others and see the difference. We have not had a revolving door of CEOs in this organization. And in the 138 years of the Holstein Association, I've only been the 9th CEO, and Lindsey will be the 10th. There's another dairy organization that we're quite familiar with. And in just the 23 years that I've been with the Holstein Association, they've already had 5 different CEOs. So look at the comparison. And I like the success of the Holstein Association USA and that's worked out very, very well. That we keep on moving along and we don't have any of that break in service. And because every time you have a change like that, you have a revolving door, you have constantly changing targets in mission, and it also causes changes in personnel, and it's also disruptive to membership. So this is really one of the big advantages that we have, and there are many of them, and for the continuity of the organization. We believe strongly in the Holstein Association that its members come first. They're the reason for our existence. You know, what we do is we work for the members, and the commonality is the registered Holstein cow, but it's a people business and a member organization. And as you know, we've grown the scope of our services and products a lot over the last 20 years, but every one of those has been developed with the member in mind. There has to be some advantage or benefit to the member, because if there isn't, we shouldn't be doing it. So that's always been clearly in my focus, and I know Lindsey's too. Lindsey, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I find it so gratifying to work for a membership organization because, as John said, everything is about the member and how can we help our members be more successful in whatever their individual goals are. And that's one of my favorite things as I get the chance to go out on farms is just talking to people about why are they in the registered Holstein business. And it's a very, very different range for a lot of our members. It's fun sitting at the kitchen table and just talking about why, you know, what are their goals, and then marrying up what programs, products, and services do we offer that can help them. And it's fun to have such a big range of services, because whether you milk 50, 500, 5,000, or 50,000 cows, we've got things to offer. And that's the other thing that's very rewarding for me in my positions that I've had, and what I'm excited about going forward is that diversity of our membership. Our members are the hardest working, you know, wonderful people, and it's just very fun to get to know them. And you know, we've got some very progressive minded people, we've got, you know, very driven people, but it's really the diversity that keeps it interesting. That does sometimes present challenges because you've got a lot of different audiences to try and make happy, but at the end of the day, they're all hardworking dairy farmers, and it's very gratifying to serve them.
So Lindsey, after I walk out of that corner office on New Year's Eve, 2024, what's the first thing you're going to do when you assume the role of CEO on January 1st, 2025?
Probably take a deep breath and maybe pinch myself a little bit. But again, I've got a document saved on my computer desktop with some January goals, so I'm going to start tackling those. I'm hoping to have a few different types of staff meetings to really just make sure everybody on staff understands, what'll be different. Most things are going to be the same, but of course we've got me moving into a new role. There's going to be a few changes associated with some of the things that I used to be responsible for that will be transitioning to some other folks. So just really communication is a very high priority for me. So day one is probably going to be, once I get settled in, log into my computer, check my email. Probably we'll be just spending some time talking to people, getting settled in, and really just kind of orienting myself and figuring out what needs to be tackled first. So John, I'll put the ball back in your court. When you walk out of the door December 31st and you have a nice toast on New Year's Eve, what's the first thing you're going to do when you wake up in the morning on January 1st?
Well, Lindsey, this may surprise you and some other people, but that will be the first day in 23 years that I probably will have no plans for. So I think I'm just ready to kind of take a deep breath, relax, and decide what I'm going to do the rest of the year. But anyway, I probably won't do a whole lot that day, and just smile and cherish some of those great memories. Lindsey, the Management by Objective business plan program we have at the association has been one of the keys to our success. And currently, as we sit here in October of 2024, we're working on the 2025 business plan and budget. How comforting is that to you to go into the new year with a business plan for 2025 that's there for you, that you had a major hand in developing as you take the reins?
Well, I think it's really critical. As John said, throughout the course of my time at Holstein, I've been fairly involved in the Management by Objective business plan, and I love it because it helps keep staff very focused on what they said they're going to do, and people can hold themselves accountable for achieving those goals, and the board is very aligned with what those goals are, so we can really just focus on executing the plan. And I think as we talk about continuity and having a smooth transition, I think we'll know in November of this year that, hey, we've got our major plans for 2025 set, we've got our budget approved, now all we have to do is execute on those plans. So again, as we think about a smooth transition, I think that's going to be really key because nobody's going to be scrambling around trying to figure out what they're working on. We'll have those goals and we know what the roadmap is and what those checkpoints are going to be throughout the year, so it's going to just be very easy to help keep people focused on the core business. As I'm sitting here thinking, I've got a lot of different memories kind of racing through my head, but a common theme is John and I have been fortunate to travel a lot together. I don't think we've had too many travel horror stories, but a lot of times when we're traveling, we're going to meet with folks, whether it's members or different organizations that we work with, and I just feel like we always have a good time. John has such a collaborative spirit and has been fortunate to have me involved in a lot of these collaborations that we always come to these meetings. We've got an agenda set. We know what we want to accomplish, and we accomplish that. And then we usually end up going out for a nice dinner afterwards with our friends that we're meeting with. And I think I've just always enjoyed watching John foster those relationships. I've tried to learn a lot from that. And so I just have a ton of good memories I could name off like probably 100 different times where we flew to some city, had a great meeting, a great dinner with friends, and worked on objectives that would move our business forward, but we had a lot of fun in the process. So those are a lot of my good memories. And then I would say too, there's a ton of great memories around the office. We've got some fun little traditions that we do. We do a employee appreciation luncheon, and John always does some fun things during that. We've had holiday meals with all the staff. So a lot of it, again, it's just been observing John kind of from the audience standpoint, but just I talked about the relationships you build with collaborating organizations, but the relationships you build with our colleagues in the office, no matter what their job is. Some of those special events that we'd have at the office, it was just fun because it was very special because, John's a busy guy. He doesn't always get to walk through the registry department or interact with somebody that might be just answering the phones all day. So it's fun to watch them get a chance to interact and just joke and have a fun time and just kind of watch those interactions.
One of the things I want to mention about Lindsey's comments about our meetings and whatnot, I don't know what our batting average is, but I will say this, Lindsey, that we've been extremely fortunate on the number of things that we have set out to do, and when we've gone to some of those meetings and the success that we've had, and always ending up with something to be to the members' benefit. We were just in a meeting not too long ago that I think is going to have a very, very good result. And so those things, it's been really, really fun. It's great when a plan comes together and then when you can have fun doing what you do. And I think that's one of the things why Lindsey is such a natural for this position is that she has a passion for what she does. She loves what she does, and I've been the same way. I've been the luckiest guy that ever lived. I've always loved my job, if you will, my profession, what you do, and I've always looked forward to coming to work and doing what we do and the trips and everything. So it's always been very, very rewarding that way. And Lindsey has that same spirit, and it is nice. You really get to know somebody when you do travel with them, and it's always fun to work hard, but have some fun while you're doing it.
I've been very intentional about just watching how John conducts himself in different settings, especially in meetings like I talked about at the annual meeting in front of our membership, because I think another reason that we've had the success we have is that John brings such a level of professionalism to everything that he does that kind of sets the tone for the day. From the way that he dresses when he comes to the office, when we have meetings, there's always an agenda. We have fun too, but it's really setting the tone for how we conduct ourselves. And I think that really just helps instill a culture in all the staff of, hey, we come to work and we have fun, but we mean business too. And I think I've just really tried to observe him over the years in different settings and just, see how he conducts himself and try and emulate some of those behaviors, because it doesn't always come naturally. And so I think that's one of the things that comes to mind for me.
I recognized really early with Lindsey that she gets it. And she understands a lot about a lot of things easily. And she's an easy learner and a natural learner. And she's passionate about what she does and about this business and industry and the Holstein Cow and its membership. And I don't remember exactly when it was, but I remember in a meeting with you, Lindsey, when I said, Lindsey, you get it. Do you remember that?
Yep, absolutely.
And that's to me, that's like the ultimate compliment you can give to somebody. And I know what getting it really means, but it's something that is some people have and some people don't. And it's a natural ability to understand what needs to get done, how you do it, but understanding the environment and situation that you're in. And I recognize that as a very young person in Lindsey that she got it. And so if people don't really understand, well, what does that mean? That she gets it. She gets it.
John has been a tremendous mentor to me for my entire career, and John's been involved in coaching in different aspects of his life, and he brings that to the office, and there's been times where you've given me feedback on things, and I love feedback because I always want to have constant, never-ending improvement. But I think that's really something that I've learned from John as a leadership lesson, is just making sure that you're coaching up those around you. Don't be afraid to give direct feedback, but always give a lot of praise when praise is due as well. And just being intentional about acknowledging, what we're doing great and what we can do better. And just always trying to build up those around us at all levels of the organization. I think that's been something that I've really tried to apply, that I've seen John. I've had it applied with myself, which I've been very appreciative of, but again, just seeing how he communicates with others has been just something that I've really tried to emulate as I've moved into management and leadership roles, as we think about just, hey, how can we all make ourselves better and help those around us be better all the time as well.
Lindsey, I'm so excited for you to be the next CEO of the Holstein Association USA, just the 10th in the association's history. I'm happy to turn over the key to the association to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, John. I'm thrilled and excited, and I'll do my best to make you proud.